Namaskaram to all Atmas. Today we are going to see on this Budhvar the message of peace from the Buddhism philosophy under God's second commandment, which, as you all know, is to spread the message of peace from all religious philosophies, 9 religious philosophies, which we are going to spread for 7 days in a week. The objective of this God's second commandment is to make everyone in the world to know about these 9 religious philosophies, which is the majority of people in the world follow, to remove the religious intolerance, because all religious philosophies tell the only truth for human peace and salvation, and nothing more, nothing less. Let us shut our differences on account of this religious intolerance, social economic status, and see that all people live as one world family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, and uplift the needy and bring real peace in the world. That is the objective of the second commandment. And in this video, we are going to see the Buddhism philosophy, what Buddha's teaching tells. Buddha first taught himself to avoid the sin of killing living creatures. So, in the path of enlightenment, what one has followed is being spread. Buddha, what he has adopted in his life to attain enlightenment, he shares to the people, mankind, for them to follow. He says, the first Buddha first taught to himself. So before teaching to others, he taught to himself to avoid the sin of killing living creatures. He wished them that all people might know the blessedness of the long life. So nobody should kill any living creature because all are God's creation. You do not have any right. Of course, in the living creatures, the 1 sons, 2 sons, 3 sons, 4 sons, 5 sons. These creatures, if you see, one sense that earthworm is being eaten by the ant. Ant is eaten by the frogs. Frogs are eaten by the snakes. Snakes are eaten by the birds. Birds are eaten by the animals. So these are all, mostly all are carnivorous because God's creation, why it has created so? Because if from one stage, second stage, it gets promoted. From second to third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. Up to this, there is a promotion. So in the promotion, what happens? One eats other and get promoted. The second eat others and get promoted. Like that, they get promoted to up to fifth. In the fifth only we have the herbivorous animals. So this in the fifth, up to that all are carnivorous. In the fifth stage only the herbivorous animals like elephant, cow, deer, all these have come, which they sacrifice to the carnivorous animal, their body, and they get promoted to the human form. So in the human form, what is going to be eaten away is our buddhi has to be enlightened so that this human form get merged into the Paramatma. So until this period is eating one after another, getting promoted. And after reaching the human stage, human has to promote to the God. And that is the objective of all these religious philosophies. So we have to get promoted to God. And in the path, our focus should be only on how to reach God and not to kill the lower animals and go to the lower stage. If you are killing animals and eating means what? You are at the fifth stage and third stage like that. Your buddhi should be enlightened so that you have to move upwards. That's why God, after man as a human form, before Atma enters the human form, he has made the creatures like herbivorous creatures where they only eat the fruits, vegetables, and the leaves. And then only God has created man. That means what? Man should eat only the fruits, vegetables, and the leaves and live on it. But man's the vasanas of the past five levels, it is dragging him back to eat the carnivorous animals, flesh and meat, and all these things he wants. He has that vasanas. It should go. When he begins to travel towards the God, he will forget what his past experiences. Past experiences get slowly erased, and his Vasana for this animal eating, killing the living creatures and eating them will vanish. As long as man has got the cravingness to eat the flesh and blood, that means what? He is still in the lower level. Though he is in the human form, his mind is still in the lower level. He has to emancipate. That's what Buddha says. So all people might know the blessedness of long life. So every creature God has created and He has given a life for it. And as far as the human being is concerned, he is not focused on killing animals. They should live their own life. They are meant for some other creatures. So an ant eats away the earthworm. These ants and flies are eaten by the frogs. It is not we should eat frogs or we should eat these flies. That means we are going in that level. So if you are eating flies means you are at the frog level. If you are eating snake means you are in the birds level. So that should not be there. They are built for their own because they have to promote in one stage from first to fifth stage. After reaching the sixth stage, you again why you go back to fourth, second stage. So you should focus only on the higher stages of life. Buddha trained himself to avoid the sin of stealing. So one should not steal the others. So stealing means if somebody has put his efforts and earned something, if you go and steal, that means what? You are exploiting other man's efforts. It's a great sin. The means that all people might have everything they needed. So don't steal. Everyone should work hard and earn for their livelihood. Whatever be the work. But be honest, be diligent, and not steal others' property by which you accumulate sins. Buddha trained himself to avoid ever committing adultery. He wished that all people might know the blessedness of a pure spirit and not suffer from insatiable desires. So, one should not see the person, a man should not see a woman as a lustful object, a woman should not see a man as a lustful object. They should see the Atma inside each body. When you see Atma consciousness, it comes, then you will not see the body. So then the question of insatiable desires will vanish and you will focus only on fulfilling your duties to that Atma inside the body. Buddha, aiming at his ideal, trained himself to remain free from all deception. He wished that all people might know the tranquility of mind that would follow in speaking the truth. So what he says, himself to remain free from all deception. Deception means telling lies, doing wrong things against the wishes for selfish aggrandizement. That should not be there. He wished that all people might know the tranquility of mind. The mind should, as long as mind is in the external vasana, that is called attracted by the Maya, to achieve it, it does all kinds of deception, including lying, lies to grab that thing. So once the mind goes tranquility deep inside and go to Atma's and the supreme conscious levels, the mind will only begin to speak the truth, whatever hardship one faces. Let us speak the truth. When you speak the truth, your mind will be free from any aberrations. It will always be happy and peaceful. Because if you tell truth, you need not worry. If you tell lie, you feel guilty. And for telling one lie, you have to do many, you have to tell many lies. That should not be there. He trained himself to avoid double talk. He wished that all people might know the joy of fellowship. So, double talk means what? So, you talk once outside and think inside and talk outside. It's a sarcastic remarks you say, no? So, to avoid double talk means you think one thing inside. So, if you hate one person, but you show your as if you are loving him. This kind of thing. And you do wrong way of talking. That is called double talking that should be avoided. He wished that all people might know the joy of fellowship means what? So you should have the friendliness among all the people. You should love everybody. You should not create a sarcastic situation. He trained himself to avoid abusing others, and then he wished that all might have the serene mind that would follow up living in peace with others. So one should avoid abusing others unnecessarily. You see, between the neighbors, there will be always fighting and they use abuse each other. If there is abuse, means there will be a fight, big fight, and there will be negative environment. One should avoid it. Then only you can. Then you can. When you create a serene mind in you, you will not go for abusing. You love everybody. When such situation arises, there will be you can live in peace with others. He kept himself free from idle talk, and then wished that all might know the blessedness of sympathetic understanding. So, idle talk, idle mind is devil's workshop, they say. So, you should not waste your time in gossiping and watching this unnecessary videos and chatting, he says. So, one should have blessedness of sympathetic understanding. Idle talk should not be there. When there is no idle talk, your focus will be on your doing your duties. Then, while doing your duties, whatever you come across, to whom you do the work, if they commit mistake, you will have the sympathetic understanding of what they are doing. Because then, if you find angry with them, then naturally karma acts you. They should not be there, it says. Buddha, aiming at his ideal, trained himself to keep free from greed, and by this virtuous deed, he wished that all people might know the peacefulness that would go with this freedom. So, he says one should avoid, they should be free from greed. And by this virtuous deed, he wished that all people might know the peacefulness. If you are free from greed, then you can find real peace in you. If you have greed, to satisfy the greed, you have to work heavily and you create a lot of tension and pressure. Not only that, in satisfying the greed, if somebody poses an obstacle, you try to think cunningly, crookedly, and take revenge against them. All this adds karmas. And not only the adding of karma, you will lose your peace. That should not be there. When you give up the greed, then there will be real peacefulness inside you. He trained himself to avoid anger, and he wished that all people might love one another. So if you avoid anger, if you show anger means what? The other person will show anger on you. There will be a big fight, and your relationship gets spoiled. Instead, if you avoid anger, there will be peaceful atmosphere everywhere, and you can live in harmony, you can love and live in harmony with others. He trained himself to avoid ignorance and he wished that all people might understand and disregard the law of causation. So, one should avoid ignorance. Only if you avoid ignorance, then you can gain wisdom. So, he wants everybody to give up their ignorance and gain knowledge and wisdom to lead a successful, peaceful life. Thus, Buddha's compassion embraces all people and his constant consideration is for their happiness. So, whatever Buddha's teaching is, it aims for bringing happiness to the humanity. He loves people as parents love their children and wishes the highest blessedness for them, namely that they will be able to pass beyond this ocean of life and death. So, his objective of the giving teaching is he wants people to live peacefully and happily while doing their duty in the midst of all this ocean of life and death. And so should give up their attachment to worldly passions like greed, lust, and move in the righteous path to attain Buddhahood of enlightenment. So once you follow these principles given by the Buddha in avoiding this greed, lust, everything, one can able to attain the real enlightenment and this leads to the real salvation path. Thank you.